Hello everybody and welcome to webinar number 2 in the series. The title of this webinar series is How to Use Moxi Present to Create Buyer and Seller CMAs and so much more. So lots of tools today that we want to show you inside of MoxiWorks. So the goals of today's presentation are threefold. First of all, what we want you to be able to do is to be able to use MoxiWorks to get more listings. You guys hear me talk about all the time in all of our presentations how important listings are to your business. And so the tool of MoxiWorks can actually not only help you get more listings because you're staying in touch with people, but also present a more professional display, if you will, of information to potential sellers. So we're going to show you how to take advantage of that today to win more listings. The second part of today's webinar is going to take the paperwork out of all of the things you do for buyers. So when you're on the road and you're showing buyers properties, how many of you print off a gazillion pages of the MLS property and the MLS information on that property tour with those buyers? I can see all of you shaking your heads yes. And what I'm going to give you today is a tool that you can give them that your buyers will be able to access right from their phone. So imagine all of that printed information is now available in their phone, which will be live and updated in real time as opposed to having to reprint them information later. So that's pretty cool. The third and final thing we're going to do today, inside of Present specifically, is we're going to go ahead and we are going to show you how to go above and beyond at an open house. Many of you sit open houses, and we want your open house to be the best it possibly can be and show off your talents to your potential buyers or even to potential sellers. So we'll show you how to use MoxiWorks to do that. And then we'll end today with using MoxiWorks to help market your listings. So there are some tools inside of Engage and inside of Present that will allow you and help you to do that. I do apologize, everybody. I have to say that I'm fighting a little bit of a cough. So if you hear me pause, it's so that I can not cough on this presentation. So I just wanted to put that out there for y'all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with creating that killer seller presentation. So inside of MoxiWorks, you have at your leisure and at your ability to create presentations. So what we're going to do today is we're going to pretend that we have met with the seller at 333 Blackbird Court in Bradenton, Florida. Don't laugh, it happens to be my house. But what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and create a seller presentation to take with us to that presentation and to that listing appointment. So what we're going to do first to start is we're going to hit Create New. At this point, this is actually going to be a seller presentation. So when you get to the presentation types, it's going to cue you to either select a seller presentation or a buyer. We're going to go ahead and hit seller and hit continue. At this point, it's going to bring up two options, either to use no template, which would basically not put any pages into your presentation, or allow you to select from default. So what we can actually do here is we're going to just select the very first one, and it's going to show you that there's 16 pages defaulted in this presentation for you. I recommend using that one because at the end of the day, what this is doing for you is it's pulling in the most recommended or most used pages in a CMA presentation. So we'll go ahead and hit continue. At this point, you'll put in who the presentation is being prepared for. We're going to pretend like it's my mom. We're going to go ahead and create, and it's going to take us into the creation tool for MoxiWorks for basically the CMA. So as you can see that there are 4 different areas within the CMA creation. Subject property, then it's going to go out and search for the properties to put into the CMA. You're going to select which listings you want to present in your CMA. It's going to allow you to choose and select an estimate to include in that CMA. And then you're going to pick which pages you want all of this information up here to go into in the pages area. So let's continue on with our creation. So here you can see that we've prepared this for, and it's our customer's name. You can then go in and you can select the previous MLS number for that listing. So if the home has ever been listed before, you can go ahead and you can put in the MLS number, hit copy, and it'll bring in all of the data and the information from the previous, most recent MLS number for that listing. Very handy. Now, of course, if the listing has never been in MLS before, you would have to go ahead and enter that information in from the tax records that you would get from the MLS. But we all know that 9 times out of 10, the listing has probably been sold before. So as you can see here, all of the information is now into my property overview. The great thing is that this form is 100% changeable and you can revise it at any time. Whatever you revise here will not change it in the MLS. So all you're really doing is changing the output for your customer in the presentation, not necessarily what's already in MLS or in the tax record database. This is just for you to update or change. So if you know that an extra bedroom was added on to the home, or that they've added a pool, or that they have done something to substantially change the home, you could come in here and add and change those features and all that information as you see fit. If you wanted to go ahead and make this a little bit easier to see, of course you can take the features out from your view, makes it a little bit easier. And then of course you could also see the old remarks that were written. If you wanted to, you could change those for your presentation purposes, or you could leave it in there. So this is all 100% customizable to you. Then of course you'll see the price and the sale information. So this gives you the MLS number, when it was sold, the list price, the sold price, the days on market, and what day it's actually sold. And we'll go ahead and we'll hit continue at this point. Now, I am not going to show you how to do an awesome CMA. I'm literally just showing you how to use the tool today. So don't take my CMA examples at heart here. I know you all know how to do a way better CMA than I do. I just want to show you how great the tool is and how flexible it is to use. So bear with me as I show you all kinds of different things. But of course, you'll know how to pull the right data for your CMA purposes. Okay, so the great thing about this tool is it gives you flexibility and options. So you can either search by a specific home, you can search by drive time. So if you wanted to search by homes from a specific location within a 5-minute drive time or a 20-minute drive time, that gives you that option. If you wanted to look for specific MLS numbers, so if you know specifically which homes you want to compare this property to, you would select MLS numbers and you would enter the MLS numbers into this box right here, hit search, and it'll just bring up those properties for you. Then you could also search by an MLS area. So if you have a specific area that you want to search on, you would put that in there and hit search. For today's purposes, what I want to do is I actually want to use the filters. So over here on the right-hand side, it allows me to pull that box down and search on different features. I actually today only want to search on active properties, or I could even search just on sold properties. Probably for a seller CMA, we just want to look at sold. So I'll take the active out by unchecking it. I'll take the pending, expired, canceled, off-market, contingent, sale, fail, and other out as well by unchecking them. And at this point, all I'm doing is saying, give me the sold properties back. I go ahead, scroll down and hit search, and this will go ahead and narrow my search for me based on just those sold properties. If I wanted to, I could also put a radius on and say, only show me within a 2-mile radius. I could also put a boundary on and only draw the boundary specifically for Greyhawk Landing, which is a specific neighborhood. Or I could also look at it by schools, by price ranges, or by any other information that I wanted to. So there's lots of flexibility with the tool, and you'll want to come in here and play around with it. At this point, what this is bringing back for me is 17 listings that match my criteria of sold within a 2-mile radius. I think that's pretty good for today's CMA, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as it is for right now. What I want to do is I need to move on to our listings page. So what I need to do is select the listings that I want to include in my CMA. So I'm going to go ahead and click Select All. That will go ahead and put a little checkbox into every listing that I have in this list. If I wanted to uncheck one, it's as easy literally as just coming up here and unchecking it. So at this point, I love all 17 of these, and these are the ones that I do want to include. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Continue. The next page is my display order. The idea here is that you may want to put these in price order, you may want to put them in size order, you may want to put them in some sort of custom order yourself. So right now, it's ordered automatically by price high to low. If I select the drop-down button, I can do days on market, I can do sold date, list date, whatever I want, or I can do custom. If I click custom sort order, it will give me the flexibility to move the different listings. So you can see this little arrow pops up on the left-hand side next to the listing. If I click that and I drag the listing, I can then move it to whatever position I want. This will go ahead and renumber them and reorganize them accordingly. The other great thing is the system is flexible, where I could add in adjustments by clicking Add Adjustment. I can replace with a custom listing, so if there was something custom that I wanted to add or something that maybe was off market, I could add that or replace that. I can see the listing details for the property, and I can also edit remarks. So if there's something that I want my seller to specifically know about this property, I can go ahead and hit Edit Remarks, and that will allow me to put in special remarks about that home in the comparative market analysis for my customer. So those are just some of the added benefits. I can add custom listings by coming up here to the top and clicking this little button that says Add Custom Listing. That would be if a pocket listing sold or something that wasn't on the market or in MLS and you wanted to note it. And then I could also go back and view the listings on a map. At this point, we're going to say that our display order is right in line with what I like. We're going to come down to the bottom of the page. We're going to hit Continue. Now remember with Moxi, as you go along, everything is being saved. So you never have to hit save. Everything is always saved in real time as you go through. That makes it nice and easy so you never forget. This next section is a fantastic tool for your CMA, which will allow you to put in estimated pricing and estimated net proceeds for your customer. This is a little bit above my pay grade as a non-agent, so I'm going to let you guys play around with that. But obviously, it's a free form and free, not free, but a form, I guess you would say, that you can go ahead and you can put different information in that would allow you then, when you send this information to your sellers, all of this information is then captured, which is, I'm sure, stuff that you would want into your CMAs. Now, the great thing is if you don't put anything into this part, we can actually leave this page out of the CMA. I am purposely not going to put anything in this today because I want to show you how you would remove it from the CMA or from the presentation when it's ready. So for today, I'm just going to leave this completely blank and not put anything in it. At this point, we're going to go ahead and hit Continue. And we are done with going ahead and putting together the subject property, searching for the properties, selecting the listings. We left our estimate blank in this case because I didn't want to take the time to do that today. And then at this point, it's telling us what pages we should be putting into our presentation. Now, I want to call out very quickly that one of the steps that I missed in the very beginning was there gives me the option to put a photo here for the property. That photo can be anything you want. It could be a photo of the neighborhood. If you have a picture of the home, you could use that there. What's also really cool is if I go back to the subject property, I can also input the photos from MLS. So it'll bring up any of the MLS images that were there. Now, I will tell you that I know for a fact I don't want to use the MLS images that were in that listing previously because it was horrible. So I'm going to default and find a photo to use. Luckily, it's my house, so I will be able to, whoops. Oh, come on, computer, work with me here. Pictures, put my house in there. And that will go ahead and put a photo into the presentation. So I'm going to go back to pages, and I wanted to show you that because then now you can see on this main page is a beautiful photo of the house. It has my customer's name, the property information, and then if I were the agent, my agent contact information is on that page. That is the home page of your presentation that's going to be sent for the CMA. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of the pages that would be part of your presentation. The great thing is that this is very user-friendly. So if you wanted to come in here and take a page out, such as, remember before I told you, we didn't have an estimate comparison in there. So if I click on estimate comparison, it's giving me some information, but I don't really like it. So what I want to do is remove it. So I hit the 3 buttons and I hit remove. This will remove that page from my presentation. If I ever wanted to add it back in, I would just go to Add Page and find that page back in the library. Same thing with net proceeds. If you recall, on the net proceeds page, I didn't have anything there, so we wouldn't want to leave a blank page in there. So for today's purposes, we hit the three little buttons, we hit remove, and that will remove that page out for us. Okay. Now, let's say I wanted to put my agent profile first after the cover page. I want them to know who I am first. If I click on agent profile to bring up the page, and if I just drag it up to the top, so I click it and drag it, that will move the page to the very top for me. And I can move it within any place that I want within the presentation. Going back to the cover page for a moment, the wrench. The wrench is an indication that you have options. So I want you to go ahead and you would click on the wrench. And what this is going to do is bring up a cover page option for you. With the options, you can turn off your agent photo or keep it on. You could turn off the property photo or keep it on. You could show the prepared for or the address, or you could turn it off. As you scroll down, you can also choose different designs for the actual presentation when you're ready to present it to your customers. If I hit change, it's going to show me the different templates that are set up. So I have five different templates that I can select from. I happen to love the first one, so I'm going to leave it as that one, but you could select any of the templates that you choose here. This one's already selected, so I'm good to go. I hit X out of that, and now my presentation is ready. Now you'll notice that there are some Michael Saunders pieces in here as well. So we've added a Why Choose Michael Saunders and Company. Our values, benefiting from Mayfair. These are all pieces that you can keep in there, or of course you could also delete or remove. In the next presentation or webinar, I'm going to actually show you how to add your own pages. So if you have custom pages like a testimonial sheet, something about yourself, different things that you do to market your listings, and that's part of your listing presentation, we can actually add those pages into your default presentation, and then they'll always show up for you, which is a great tool. So we'll show you that in the next webinar, so stay tuned. At this point, my presentation is ready to go. I have a subject property outlined. I have all the listings that I want to compare it to. I've got 14 pages inside of my presentation. I am ready and good to go. I'll hit home. This is going to put the presentation right into my inbox of presentations. Now, what can I do with that presentation? Well, here's a couple ideas. The first thing is when you come over here to the three little buttons, you can email it. So I would recommend emailing this to your customer either in advance of your meeting or after your meeting. What's great is that you can also choose to send a PDF version in either landscape or in portrait, which when they print it off, they will then see the cover page that I showed you earlier when we were picking out and selecting the pages. So I'll go ahead and select landscape. We'll send the presentation. I'd put their name in here, their email address. The subject might be, here is the CMA for your listing. The greeting might be, hello Pam, and then the message might be something like, here's the CMA for your property. Now, why would you send a presentation like this versus just printing it or only printing it? But here's why. The great thing is when you bring this presentation up, it is constantly pulling the current information from the MLS. So by sending the online presentation to your customer, if a listing that you have used in here, let's say you were showing live listings or current listings, if that listing went pending, it would show as pending in the presentation whenever it happens in MLS. Or like I have showed you, I used listings that were closed. If one of those listings suddenly went back on the market, it wouldn't show it anymore in the presentation because it's now not a closed listing, it's now a current listing again. So these are just different tools within the product that is beneficial to you and to your seller. It gets updated in real time. You'll know exactly when something has changed. This map is completely interactive, so when I click on the number, it'll bring the listing up. When I click on the listing, it'll go ahead and bring me up all of the details. So everything is very interactive and user-friendly. I'd highly recommend sending the presentation to yourself sometime. And looking at it on your phone, it's even more impressive because the phone, it takes it into a responsive mechanism so that it looks really, really sharp on the phone system. Okay, so this is the presentation essentially of what you're seeing. Again, it allows you to be very interactive, allows you to click in, to look at things in an interactive fashion, allows you to look at side-by-side comparisons and so on and so forth. You guys have all seen these type of tools a million times, but I definitely highly recommend you go in, play with it, and use it. Okay, so that's your seller presentation. The other thing that I would highly recommend is that think about when you get in front of a seller, you could bring a printed version of this CMA, which we'd recommend, but of course you could also bring your laptop, your iPad, or maybe even on the phone to be able to show your sellers in real time what your kind of data and information you have at your fingertips. You could also, if you were sitting in front of a seller, I did this the other day at a presentation, they had asked about some comparative market information in real time, and I was able to get into my Moxi on my phone, pull up the information, and show it to the seller right there in live. So if you get real comfortable with this, that's totally usable and totally doable. Okay, that's your seller presentation. Now, let's talk about taking your buyers on a tour. So we're going to pretend like we have a buyer coming into the market tomorrow that we want to go ahead and take on a tour. We're going to show them 4 properties. In today's typical fashion, what you would do is you would print off the 4 MLS listings. You'd put it into one of the Michael Saunders folders. You'd bring that folder with you on the tour. And in the middle of the tour, you've got paper flying all over your car. You've got people losing information, or you found out at the last minute a price had changed and you didn't know about it. The great thing about using a buyer tour within Moxi is that it's going to be real-time updated for you, so any pricing changes would be live. It's in the phone, so it's going to be really easy for your customer to pull up on their phone in real time. They can go back to the presentation after they view the homes, and they can look at it in an online fashion after the property showings. They can also email the information to their friends, their family, or anyone else that they wanted to show off the property to, as opposed to having to do it through the Michael Saunders website. This gives them an interactive tool to do it live. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a buyer tour. Pretty simple, create new. In this case, we're creating a buyer presentation. We hit continue. I do want to go ahead again and pick my default buyer pages, so I'll hit continue. Prepared for, we are going to pretend like Miss Amanda is coming into town to look at properties. So at this point, what it's going to urge me to do is it's going to urge me to go ahead and find the listings that I want to include in my search. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the search tool. And I'm going to go, and I have 4 specific MLS numbers that I want to go ahead and include in my search. So I go to MLS number. And what I'm going to do is enter in the MLS numbers that I want to specifically include in my tour. Put a comma in between them. Okay. I think that one's going to be too long. Let me fix that. 420. There we go. Take out the 0. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit search. And there we go. It brings up the 4 properties for me. And actually, it only brought up 3. Why did it only bring up 3? I bet you 1 is maybe not on. Oh, there we go. I must have an incorrect number somewhere because it only brought up 3, or 1 has gone off the market, which is kind of cool. Yep, okay, 1 went off the market. That's why. So there you go. All right, so I have 3 listings that we are going to go see. So I'm going to go ahead and hit select all. And I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page. Tomorrow's tour, we're actually going to see these in a specific order. So I'm going to do custom sort order. We're actually going to go see Beau Ciel first. So I'm going to move that to the top of the list. We're going to see the Longboat Key second. And then we're going to go back to the mainland to see the 3rd property 3rd. So that's the order. So I do custom sort order, and I would move those around appropriately. I'm going to go to next or continue. Now I'm going to leave the estimated pricing out. So I really don't need to touch this screen for my buyer tour at this time. because I'm not going to include those pages in my CMA or in my buyer tour. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to pages. So I'm going to leave that portion blank. And now what I need to do is I need to select the pages that I want to include inside of my presentation. Believe it or not, I don't actually want to create a cover page, mainly because I don't have a photo to put in there, and I don't really care if she has my information because I'm going to be in the car with her the whole time. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove the cover page. Totally not necessary. Now we also don't have a main property. We didn't put a subject property in because this is a buyer tour that we're showing multiple properties. So as you can see, this page is blank, so we would want to remove it. The listing location map is going to take those 3 listings and put them on a map for me. I think that one's fantastic to include in the buyer tour. Of course, you'd want to include the listing overview because that's going to show the 3 properties that we're going to see. Of course, we'd want to show the side-by-side comparisons to show in a graph format what we're looking at for the different properties. For status comparisons, we would actually probably remove this for a buyer tour, mainly because all this information is already in the other tools. So it's just one less page that they have to filter through. Listing averages, if this person was really into data and statistics, you might include the listing averages. You might include the price and days on market, but my guess is going to be, since this is a buyer tour, they're not really going to want to know that comparison at this point. Same thing for price and size, and same thing for estimate comparison. We're not really comparing this to anything right now as it's just a buyer tour. Same thing for pricing analysis, same thing for purchase costs. And then of course you'd want to leave your agent profile in there, and maybe at this point in time, maybe it's just too much to do the Why Choose Michael Saunders and Company, so maybe we'll want to remove that particular piece right now. So that's why this is such a great piece, or a great tool, is because you saw we started with 16 pages, and we've gotten it down to 6, which is going to be a really wonderful buyer tool when they're out on the road with you. So once you're done with this, you're going to go back to the home page, and here's your buyer tour for Amanda. When she receives this buyer tour, you're going to email it to her using the Present tool. This is the presentation she's going to have in her phone. Again, if the prices were to change on these properties tomorrow, this will get updated automatically with the new price. If the listing were to go off the market, it would turn from green to red to show that it has been pended or closed. So this is an interactive, live and living color. The other great thing is now that you've created this presentation for Amanda, if you decide at any time you wanted to add properties to it because she's decided to look at more, you would come up here to the little pencil, click on it, and at any given time, go back to the search area, search for the specific MLS number that you want to add, and you can go ahead and add that in at any time. So this is a living, breathing thing where you can go and add additional properties. If they come back and say, ugh, you know what, I am not a fan of that condo, it just doesn't fit my lifestyle, we can always come back and uninclude the property, and that will take it out of their search for them. So this can be a live buyer tool that you can use on any given day to show your buyers exactly what they're purchasing. Just as a reminder to send the presentation to your customer, you'll hit the 3 dots back at the presentation homepage. You would hit, whoops, I can't email it because I'm currently in it, but you'd hit email and you'd be able to email that to your customer directly. Okay, so that's taking your buyer on a tour. Now let's go above and beyond for your open house. Let's say this weekend you're sitting in open house for actually one of Judy's properties. So we're going to go ahead and hit create new. And at this point, you're going to create a buyer presentation because it's hopefully a buyer coming to your open house. Hit continue. We'll go ahead and we'll use the default buyer layout again. Hit continue. Prepared for, what you're going to do is say that this is your Sunday 6th. I don't know what the date is on Sunday. I think it's the 1st, actually, I think. So Sunday the 1st, open house. We'll hit create. And at this point, what we'll be able to do is come here and put in our MLS number of the listing. Now again, this is going to search all of MLS and allow you to pull back that information. Of course, you have to have permission from whomever you're working the open house for to create this information, but if you're holding the open house, you probably have the permission anyways. Okay, here's the great thing again. For your presentation purposes, you can come in here and change any of this information, such as the remarks. So if you had something that you wanted to change for the remarks or add or really tell whoever's going to be coming to your open house something different, you could add that into the remarks category, and that will only show in your presentation. It won't show in the MLS. So at this point, we've got our MLS number. We're going to go ahead and scroll down and hit continue. So if you're sitting in open house, the idea here is that maybe you want to go ahead and provide potential buyers or people that are coming to your house similar other active properties that are on the market, showing them that you know currently what's on the market, other properties that they might compare this property to, other homes that they might want to view with you if they're not currently using an agent, or just something that you can show them your knowledge of the market. So you might want to pull up solds to be able to compare the sold properties to this one if you're trying to justify price or you're trying to justify the property itself. Or you may want to choose actives, so that way if they wanted to know what else is for sale, you're giving them a snapshot into that listing inventory. So for today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at active. So again, I'm going to go over to my filters and pull down the menu. I'm going to uncheck the sold, the pending, the expired, the canceled, the off-market, the contingent, the sale failed, and the others, and I'm only going to show active. I could also put in a price minimum. So if I know that this home is in the 2 millions, maybe I only want to show the seller homes that are similarly priced 2 million, maybe to 4 million. I'll put those filters in and I'll hit search. And what this is going to do is it's going to show me that I have 0 listings, but that's because my current filter is 0 miles. So what I would want to do is come back up and change my filter to expand my mileage or to expand my price information. So again, I went ahead and did reset them all, which you don't have to do, but I did it for purposes of today so you can see. Again, I'm going to put in my price. I'm going to hit search. All right, now what I want to do is, so I have 33 listings that currently meet this criteria. If I wanted to go ahead and turn on my radius, I could to a radius search and I could narrow it down to a mile. Okay, so at this point it's giving me all the active listings in that price range that I currently have set, and it's going to give me back 9 listings. I would select all. I'd hit continue. Again, I'm not going to do an estimate at this point unless you wanted to. An estimate could be something really good to show your potential buyers of this property what it would cost to purchase it. For now, we're going to go straight to pages. And again, what I want to do is just remove some of the pages that may not be necessary or relevant to somebody that's coming to my open house. So I've already showed you how to do that, so I'm not going to linger on that page for you, because really what I want to show you how easy it is to do is once you have that presentation created, so that's your open house presentation for this weekend, I would encourage you all to bring either your computer, your laptop, your phone, or your iPad with you to your open houses. Because what I would do is I would have my Engage open. I would go ahead and go to my people, and as I'm meeting people at my open houses, I could quickly hit add people. I would type in their name, type in their email address, if they're willing to give it to you to send them that presentation. Do a fake email address here. And now I've added this person in to my Engage. I can go ahead and ignore that for right now, but what I may do is add them to a group. I'd probably add them to my open house contacts. And now these are people that you're meeting at your open houses. I can go back to my present. As I'm meeting Jen Smythe at my open house, I literally can go to my presentation that I created for her hit email. I can then put in her email, her name. Okay. I can add my subject. I can send her the presentation. And what's great is when she gets this presentation with my open house data and information, if she opens it, it's going to tell me in her Engage record that she opened that presentation. So it's just a really great way to be able to know that you're currently doing something with a customer. So again, when you go back to people, if you go back to find her record, I'll show you quickly. Okay, so there she is. If I go to activity, if she had opened that presentation, it would show right here. So it's just a great way to be able to know whether or not someone did something. Now again, in your Engage, one of the tools that you may want to do, and this is totally up to you, is you could create a group for every open house weekend. So this is a great way to know when you met the person. You can have as many groups as you want. So maybe you create group open house 7/1/18. You put everybody that you met at that open house into that group. You send them the open house presentation if you have their email address, and then you can go back to that group later and see who opened that information about the open house. Then you can follow up with them and hopefully start that relationship with them. So that's the value of Engage and how to use the two together. Okay, so we have used it for a CMA. We've used it for a buyer tour. We have now used it for going above and beyond at an open house to create an open house package. Let's end today's presentation with using Moxi for marketing purposes. So what we're going to show you today is how to manage your listings using MoxiWorks. So what I'm going to do is click on this little drop-down button that's next to my photo up in the upper right-hand corner. When I click down on that, it's going to take me to my account. Now I'm going to switch users because I want to show you somebody's account that has listings. So I'm going to switch to Adam really quick just so you can see he's allowed me to use his account so I can show you. So we'll go into Adam's account so that I can show you. So I'll go to my account, and under Adam's account you're going to see that he currently has a couple tools. One is under Agent Tools, you can see his listings. Any listings where he is the primary agent is going to go ahead and show up in his active and pending area. Now, why is this important? Well, for one, there's a couple things that you can do with these listings with just a click of a few buttons. The first being, you can create a flyer. So if you wanted to create a one-page flyer for this particular listing, maybe you want to bring it to the open house, maybe you want to use it for Caravan, maybe you want to have it at the listing until your professional pieces are created by the marketing team, you can come in here and hit Create Flyer. It gives you different layout options, so I can choose either portrait or landscape. And then there's different design templates that are Saunderized, so they'll have the different Michael Saunders branding on them. You'll hit select. You're going to go through these 5 areas. So the first is to enter a title to your brochure, test brochure, just so you can see what it looks like. You'll hit next. Your main image is actually going to go ahead and pull in from your MLS. So you can hit MLS and it'll bring up all of the photos that are available to you. I can then go to the additional images because you can see there's a place for 2 other images. So I'll go to the MLS, I'll pick the other images, hit next. The description is going to go ahead and pull in automatically from MLS. Now, the description area on the flyer is much shorter than the 1,500 characters from the MLS. So you're going to have to pick what you want or what is necessary actually in your flyer. So you would remove anything that wouldn't necessarily fit, and it will cut it off. So don't try to stretch it because it will actually cut off the characters. As you can see up here, 144 characters are viewable on the flyers, so I'm safe in this case. If this turns red, it means you have too much text in your flyer. We'll hit next. Your listing details will go ahead and they will pull in from the MLS, so you can actually check off what you want to include. You can move them up and down or around or however you want. If I check these off, it'll include what I want. The price should pull in automatically, but of course, if you have a price reduction, but it maybe hasn't hit the MLS yet, you could put your corrected price in there. Programs are just if you want the FHA and the Realtor logo on the flyer itself. And then at that point, you would hit view and print, and it's going to go ahead and bring up for you a sample of, or actually the flyer itself. Now mine's not going to do it right now because I have that feature turned off, but just know that that is something that will happen, and you can go ahead and create those flyers on your listings at any time. Next up is when we go back into our listings area, there's going to be flexibility and an opportunity to create an ad. So when I hit the three buttons and I hit advertise your listing, it's going to bring up Facebook advertising options for me. I can either do a news feed ad or I can do an ad in the right hand column. I'm going to select news feed ad, and what it's going to do is pull in again all of that information on the listing directly from MLS. Now over here in the description category on the left hand side, you can see that there's lots of words. But on the right hand side where it's currently building the ad for you, you can see that only certain words will actually show up. So you have to shorten this information to what is absolutely necessary so that it'll actually show up over in the ad. As you can see, it's being cut off right now at maintenance. So we would have to definitely shorten this description to fit within that viewer. You can then change your headline, change the location, put in a destination page. So this is, you'll be able to link this directly to your Michael Saunders website where the listing is situated. You can also add your Facebook business page. So this is connecting it to your Facebook page directly. And you would follow all of the little tools here to go ahead and create this ad. When you hit next, which I'm not going to do because it takes me through a whole process, when I hit next, it's going to allow you to choose targeting, determine how much you want to pay, how long you want the ad to run for, and then it'll allow you to check out by entering in your credit card information. So this is a fantastic, really easy to use tool to advertise your listings on Facebook. So if you've always been hesitant to do something on Facebook because A, you don't have a Facebook page, or B, you just really weren't sure what to do, this is a really easy way to do it, and you do not have to have your own Facebook page to do this. Just know that. Which is a really great feature so that those of you who maybe haven't gotten on the Facebook bandwagon can still do Facebook advertising. Okay, last and finally, what I want to show you is one final tool that is pretty cool with MoxiWorks. I know many of you have already started to put lots of contacts into neighborhood news. What if you, instead of having to send it to contacts you already have, could put that maybe in one of your Facebook posts instead to try and get people to sign up for neighborhood news. So what do I mean by that? Well, here we go. What I want you to do is I want you to go back to your Engage. Once you're back in your Engage area, what you're going to do is go back over to your little picture, do your scroll down and go to Moxi Engage Preferences. Once you're in Moxi Engage Preferences, you'll see that there's all kinds of other really cool preferences that you can set up. But for specifically which one I want to show you today is I want to show you how to set up a subscription to neighborhood news. This is literally how easy it is. I clicked on subscription, and halfway down the page, it's going to say sign up link, and it says create link. I'm going to hit that button, and it's going to give me this really cool URL. I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to open up a new browser, and I'm going to go to my Facebook page. Now, you could also use this URL in your email. You could use it in LinkedIn. You could use it just about anywhere. So what I would do is create a new post, and I would go up to here. It says, Jen, what's on your mind? I'm going to type in the URL or paste it in. And I'm going to hit enter. And what it's going to do is it's going to fetch a preview of neighborhood news. Now remember, I'm in Adam's account, so it's going to show Adam there. Obviously, it's going to show you for your account. But what I could then do is come back up here, backspace the URL, and I could type in something very fun and witty. Now I've already typed something up, and I'm just going to copy and paste it in just to keep it easy for you guys, so you don't have to watch me fumble around with that. Want to know what your home is worth or how it compares to others in the neighborhood? Stay in the know with my exclusive Neighborhood News monthly market report. Click on Neighborhood News and enter your zip code. I'll email you monthly with your stats. Enjoy. When I hit post, this is going to post to my Facebook page. And when my people see it, they'll click on this link and they're going to come to this really cool Neighborhood News sign up page. The person will enter in their information, they'll hit sign up now, and that person would start to get neighborhood news from you on a monthly basis. What's also really cool, let me go back to my Facebook and take this off, otherwise people will think I'm crazy. Let me delete that really fast. What's also really cool is inside of Moxi, if a person does go ahead and sign up for your neighborhood news, when you're in My People, when you see that you have somebody in your new category, it could be somebody that's coming specifically from your neighborhood news. Also, when they go ahead and create a neighborhood news subscription for themselves, they'll also fall here under neighborhood news. And then, of course, like I said, the sources, if somebody does sign up for neighborhood news, it's going to show up right there that they signed up for it inside of your Engage. So that's a really cool way to use Moxi to your advantage to find new contacts. Okay, guys, that is it for today. What we've, just as by way of review, we did a killer seller presentation inside of Present. We showed you how to take your buyers on a tour by entering in specific MLS numbers into the MLS Finder and presenting them a buyer tour. We went above and beyond at your open houses to show your sellers and potential buyers at your open houses other great properties around them. And then we ended with how to use Moxi to market your listings, either creating a flyer, a Facebook advertisement, or getting people to subscribe to your own neighborhood news. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and open it up for any questions. Okay, so the first question that I have is there a way to set that up as a template buyer tour in our Moxi so we can use the same page selections? That was from Alex. Yes, Alex, that is a really great question. And yes, I am going to be working on setting up what we call default templates. So that idea is, so instead of having to use all 16 pages every time, the company will set up some defaults for you so that it'll be easier just to say, give me my buyer default for buyer tour, give me my seller default for seller tour, whatever it may be. So yes, we will set those up for you guys, and you can do it as well, just know that. Julie asks, can we customize the side-by-side comparison? When searching sold properties, how far back does it go for the CMA? Those are great questions, Julie. Can we customize the side-by-side comparisons? The answer there is yes, because obviously you're going to pull in whatever listings you want to compare side-by-side, and then the side-by-side data is going to be data that's going to be pulled in, which you can edit certain data fields and data points. We'll have to look specifically at what you would want to change, but when you get to that point, let me know and I can walk you through it. And then it says when searching sold properties, how far back does it go for the CMA? It, I believe, can go back as far back as what we can in MLS. So however far back we go in MLS is how far back we go for the CMA data as well. Alex asks, for a buyer presentation, can you add an attachment like floor plan to the email? Absolutely. So as I showed you guys, and I'll show you really quick before we leave, inside of this presentation that I created for this particular open house, what I would do is I would go back to my presentation, I would hit the little pencil, and then what I would do is go all the way over to pages. I would hit add a page, create new, and if you have the floor plan as a PDF, you would hit upload PDF pages, and then you would go find that document out on on your computer to upload it. If you want, Alex, I believe the question you had asked, if you want this information is in today's webinar that I did just before this one, and it'll be available on the Moxi homepage by probably 4 or 5 o'clock today. So I would encourage you, since you're kind of advanced and looking for that, go to today's webinar that is going to be the third one on the Moxi homepage for details on how to do that. Rob asks, can you go back again for posting to Facebook? After you click engage, then where? Absolutely. Okay, so posting to Facebook, let me go quickly here. Okay, sorry, I went to the home page just because I wanted to get out of that one. Okay, so posting to Facebook, what will happen is you click your face area, you do the drop down, and you're going to go to My Account. Under your My Account, you're going to see Agent Tools, and you'll click on that. And you can either go to your listings directly and then do a Facebook post from there, or you could just go right to this little link right here that says My Advertisements. You'll click on that link, and it'll take you into the Facebook ad creator. You would hit New Ad, and then you can either choose to advertise your listings or advertise your services. So you'll always start, just so you know, again, over here under your picture, My Account, under your Agent Tools, either under listings or under My Advertisements. Either way will get you to that Facebook advertising. Great question. All right, guys, I have another webinar starting at 2 o'clock, so I have to get going. If you have other questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me directly via email, via phone, but please wait until after 3 o'clock because I have another call until then. Thanks, everybody, for attending. I appreciate it very much, and have a great day.